Good day, Haru, and how do you do, guys? Good morning. Hello, how are you? Welcome in. Sorry I'm late, guys. I got held up this morning and all things talking about fatherhood. I'm going to catch up with my son today, my youngest. Hope you guys are well. We got turned on today. This is MOvember's MoChat. It's playing on your face. And I hope you guys are doing well enough to hang out with me. I'm hoping to catch up with a few dads out there. Fatherhood. Fatherhood. The pressures of what it's like to be a father this day and age and the days that we were growing up. Um, that's kind of what we're going to chat about. Hopefully we can kind of keep some lightheartedness in it at all. But yeah, I do have the phones open for those that want to contact me and we're open for whoever, but keep in mind again, the topic is fatherhood. So we're going to talk about dads in general and what it was like for us being a dad, what we expected from our dads, and so forth and so on. So if you guys are happy with that, let's plug along. And again, full disclosure, I am not a qualified counselor or psychiatrist or psychologist. I am just me. I'm an average guy who's lived an average life, and I'm happy that I can be here to share what pearls of wisdom I have learned along the way. If you get something out of it, fantastic. If you don't, hey, I'm not everybody's flavor. I get it. So we'll do what we can to get through it all. But until then, guys, I hope you guys are doing well. Let me see if my comrade is going to come and hang out today. So, how is everybody today? What's everybody up to? Let's have a chat. Let's talk about fatherhood. So, what qualifies me as a father? Let's see. I am the proud father of three amazing young men. I have been blessed to have had three boys in my life. I have fathered two. I've raised three. If that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, I can clarify. I have biologically two children. The third one was a stepchild, but I've had him in my life since he was 3 years old, and his own biological father couldn't be bothered, so I stepped in and did my part, and I raised him with the others as if he was my own blood. So and I think he's done pretty well for it. So we had have a discussion with my youngest a little while ago, and about things. Obviously, as they've gotten older, they're the two older ones are 30 and 31, and then he's 34. He's 24. The youngest is 24, just turned 24 this year. So, they're at different stages of their lives, and so here, as a father, I'd like to try to stay in touch with them and engaged in their lives, and I don't want to change their lives. I don't want to inflict my way of living to their lifestyle. They've got their own lives, and I'm so proud of what they're all becoming. They're doing a great job surviving and thriving in what they're doing. They've all got loving partners. No grandchildren yet, but anyways, but that's me. Um, but they are doing quite well, and I'm so very pleased and proud with them. So they're what can I say? What can I say? Um, so I guess we can kind of start in the beginning when when I was a young man growing up in my own life. I grew up with looking at my father, who was, how would you say, we didn't know any better, right? As a child, you don't know what to expect. You just kind of, you looked at the nurturing sides of, like in our household, mom didn't need to work. She chose not to work. She chose to stay home. Dad worked a lot. Um, his absence was what was felt because of the amount of work he did. Um, and so, from a father's perspective, from a child's perspective, I respected his authority. We grew up in a generation we weren't heard unless we were spoken to, sort of thing. So we knew not to get in the way. We knew not to interfere with adult stuff. Um, so we grew up in a generation where you got on your bicycles and you kind of got out in the road and you stayed on the road to the lights, to the night light, to the street lights came on, and then you'd kind of find your way home. This day and age just doesn't quite that. I don't think it's quite that same anymore. But out then, we kind of learned to survive, with our things around us, playing in the woods or, jumping ditches, or making, homemade ramps, coming home with skinned knees and, all sorts of injuries as kids, which all of us survived, which was kind of funny. We all ended up surviving it, didn't we? But yeah, so didn't really see much, obviously as a kid too, you kind of watch the pressures. You didn't feel it. Hello, Rose. G'day, love. Hope you're doing well. It is the amazing and fabulous Rose. How are you today? Look, I'm checking to myself. Hello, one girl. How are you? Your thumb. Oh no! What did you do? How did you burn? How did you burn it? I don't know how to do a scrolling text. Can I get a scrolling text? Oh no! Oh no! Have you put anything on it? Just a few ice cubes. Have you got any aloe or anything like that can help? Hurts like a bit. I bet it does. Um, Trying to figure. Can I? Give me a second. Mm. Yeah, unfortunately, that sort of pain just doesn't go away. It takes a little time for that sort of to dissipate. Oh, hello. How are you? Rachel, good morning. I think I may have found what I wanted to look for. Let's see if this works. I'm trying to see if I can find a way to get a scrolling text sorted out. It's going to come up in as a file. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. It's going to come across as an image. Is that right? Um, and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. We're apart. To tumble and fall, or the mountains to tumble to the sea. No, I won't cry. I won't cry. No, I won't shed a tear. Oh, okay. Well, that one worked. We'll save that for now. So, anywho's talking about fatherhood. Any dads out there? Anybody want to talk about fatherhood? It's funny. It wasn't until, like I was saying, like when I growing up, being around my father, it wasn't until I was a bit older, I guess, and it wasn't until I actually had my first child. I was 25 years old, and I remember the day, oh, the day he was born. I was in the Navy at the time. I was in my tech school, and I was in I was in Virginia, and I remember we were having a bit of a. It was a what were we doing? Oh, we were playing. Okay, we were playing at the time because we were on a recess break. The lovely thing about the military is we train hard, we work hard, we play hard. So we were actually at the time we were playing indoor volleyball, and I had one of the chiefs come up and say, "Hey, we need to talk to you right now." So pull me out. Said, "Your wife's gone in labor. We need to get you, get you. We need to get you to your car so you can get to the hospital." I remember that. It was so like it was yesterday, and so the chief that pulled me up had this Corvette, and he says, "Hop in." So I threw in. I felt like I did, but I know I didn't. I felt almost like the old Dukes of Hazzard where you slide across the hood. I almost felt like like I had that sort of jumped in the passenger seat, and he literally just scalded on the. We were on the base, and I remember we just scalded it across the car park to my car, which is literally 200 meters away, to get me to my car. And I mean, I could have ran it, not as fast as he drove it, obviously, but yeah, it was still like, oh wow, okay, so it is. I got there, and yeah, so it was just kind of we got what we got where we're going, and it was great. It was like I got in the car, and I just remember I was so nervous and excited, and at the same time, and so I rushed home. I felt like I must have ran every stoplight, every stop sign to get there, and it was really just amazing. Um, and then I got home, and it's in my ouch. Um, I just saw the photo there, Rose. Um, and I remember just I got to the house, and my wife was like, at the time, she's like, just it's okay, you'll be right. Just I'm okay. She kind of filled me in what was happening, but I still felt so nervous, and just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And so I got her to the hospital, and I just remember just kind of we just hung out, and I was there with her. I was holding her hand. All that was a blur. Like, everything, my part in the whole birthing process I was oblivious to. I was there, a supportive husband, doing the things that I was supposed to. But it was just like the minute he was born, the moment he was born, everything leading up to that was messy and disgusting. Um, you know, but the minute he was born, it was just it didn't matter anymore. Like nothing mattered. Absolutely nothing mattered. It's a whole such a surreal situation and feeling. Like there was nothing in the world that could take away that moment. Absolutely nothing. And I remember holding him for the very first time, and yeah, he was amazing. This little person, this little version of me, with the mixed genetics of his mother, and just like it was just the most wonderful experience. And I realized that was my true calling, to be a dad. I just wanted to be a dad. Didn't know that at the time. I just wanted to be a dad. I wanted to see other children. I wanted to see the greatness of what this kid, all my hopes and dreams that this kid's going to become started there. It was just an amazing feeling. And we eventually got him home. And at the time, we didn't know what his gender was going to be. We were told that he was going to be a girl. So we kind of had the house ready for the receiving of a girl. And because I remember after she got settled, and I remember after he got settled. Oh, thanks, Rose. We had I rushed to the nearest store, Navy Exchange it was at the time, and got this green outfit. It was green, of course. Made sure and bringing him home. And then, yeah, just from that point onward, it was just a constant. Just did everything I could to be there for that kid. Everything I could to be there for that kid. And he's grown up. He's turning 31 in January. And he's just an amazing young man. There's a lot of things that kind of came and went during that period. And I remember as a father trying to be there. The pressures. We get up and go to work. We make sure that we provide for our family. It didn't matter. We did what you could. But it was, and I don't know if it's selfish of me, but I was more concerned about providing for my children than I was for my partner. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that's selfish or not. I mean, from in my point of view, my partner, my spouse, my wife, she's an adult, and I'm an adult. And there, obviously, my love for her at the time was to be there for her and everything else. But we're in a generation where, you know, men weren't. Yeah, but it wasn't just that one girl. It was like I think we've evolved as in a generation, and I'm sure today's generation is evolved even further beyond that. But I think too, though, as a parent, it wasn't just it being as a parent, but being a partner, a husband. It's not the same as it was for our parents, and their parents, because there was a stigma at a time where men were the men that they were the providers for the home, and they went to work, and the women stayed at home, and yeah, no, it's definitely hasn't it's not stayed the same. So now men and women are kind of at the equal levels, and that's the kind of the generation that I was brought into. That men and women were equals, not just in the workforce, but at home as well, which meant we both had equal responsibilities, bringing things into the family and to looking after these children. So, my focus on her changed to the kids, and whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But to me, I think that was, and we could still love one another and still support one another. But there had to be like an understanding of like, okay, I'm out. I'm going to work. I'm current situation, whatever it is, whatever income I can make. Um, we do what you got to do to survive, and whatnot. So, and what are you going to do to contribute today? I'm staying home. Okay, that's fine. That's what you're doing today. That's fine. Make sure that the kids have food, they're fed. Okay, that's cool. I'll go and make sure that we've got enough. We're making enough money that we can have food for them to have on the table. So it wasn't about whether she got fed or not. It wasn't about whether she had. It was as long as they had it. So the kids. It was the kids. So that was where my focus was the kids. And so I think that's the same today. It's like this day and age, I think kids are so wrapped up they don't having children. Like my oldest, both of my kids have not even. If I bring up anything about grandkids or whatever, they kind of cringe at me. I'm thinking, oh, okay, hold on, wait a minute. You're 30 years old. Are you planning on helping keep the population of the world going, or what's the go here? I mean, come on. Um, uh, my dad. Well, to be honest with you, my girl, my dad. I think my dad was just working the same. But he came. He was kind of on the end of the fact that men did the work, women stayed at home. Um, and he worked a lot. My dad worked a lot. He would literally drive almost 2 hours to and from work, um, just to make sure that he was making enough of an income to provide for the family. And it wasn't just the kids; it was mom as well. But yeah, I look back too. I think when my dad and I had kind of our sort of relationship changed in the sense that I became a better understanding of what responsibilities and how he learned what rule book did he go by, because that was the thing. We as parents we learn really quickly. There is no rule book. There is no sort of guidelines of to be a parent you must do A, B, and C. Aw, thank you for the hugs, Rach. I appreciate it. Another means a warm, heartfelt hug from the Rachy cutie. It's like a silent conversation. It says, "Hi, I'm here for you." Imagine wrapping Elder Wolf in an embrace that feels like a cozy blanket with all the love and comfort in the world. Exactly right. We'll back in a minute, guys. Let this ad do its thing. We'll be back shortly. Give it 10 seconds. We're almost there. And we're back. Welcome back, guys. So yeah, what we're saying about My father, as most men do, and I think I say when I say most men, I can't speak for all men, but we learn from our parental influences. We learn that what did dad do in this situation? What did mom do? Whatever, but as a parent, we learn from those before us. And then sometimes we either learn to do the right thing or the wrong thing. I know quite often there was a lot of frustration in dad. Um, and I think a lot of that too is because the relationship between my parents was relatively strained most of the time. So, when it came to his kids, anything that happened, if any of us stepped out of line, we would kind of feel it. We'd end up confident as well. It wasn't fair for us, but you know, dad was doing the best he could do. And there's things that he did that I thought, I would never do that to my children. And and rightfully so. We look at, types of punishment, corporal punishment or whatever. Like if a child steps out of line, how do we punish a child? Timeouts are not always effective. Isolation, like sending them to their rooms or grounding them or that sort of stuff, not always effective. A smack on the bottom. And I'm not promoting it. Don't get me wrong. There's a time and a place, and obviously when I came to times in my life when my children questioned, they challenged me as a father. I don't know if you want to join me. If you just want to chat, Skunk, it's up to you, mate. You're welcome to join me. You can either do the call in if you want. There's the call in option, or you can come in the Discord and hang out with me in Discord. Or just hang out and chat, either or. But we're just talking about, you know. But yeah, as a father, you know, I always watched, some things that occurred with my kids, and I never wanted that for my children. Some of the ways my dad handled things, I never would have done what he did. I don't know about you. Welcome in, Skunk. How are you, buddy?
Hey, what's up, buddy? What is up?
Let me adjust your volumes real quick. So
Yeah. No. I got my headset on, so I know it messes with the volumes.
yeah,
My
that's all
bad.
good. No, you're fine. We want to hear you, but we don't want to hear you. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever. What's up, Rose?
But we're just talking about being a father, man. What it was like, I was telling him how, when my first son was born, the feelings. I can remember the day I got rushed to the hospital. Well, I rushed to take my wife to the hospital, watch him born, and everything that happened, and that feeling that all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I'm a dad. I'm a dad. Do you remember what it was like
Oh,
for
I
your
was. Yeah, like I remember. Hey, I can officially tell dad jokes now, and they will be dad jokes, not just lame jokes.
right? They're still lame, but we could tag it with the whole dad joke, right? It still
Right,
works.
right. No, I remember looking at my boy when he was first born, and was just like, this is pretty cool, but it didn't hit until we actually got home from the hospital. And because he had a couple of nights stay, he had a little bit of jaundice, so they wanted to keep him there, and so it wasn't realistic for me until after he got home. And now we had a little baby that we're towing around, that we had to prep for. We had car seats to get, we had um, diapers to get, and all the responsibilities that come along with
And the
raising a baby. And
mess.
I tell you, it was great.
Ugh,
I absolutely loved that time period, man. When the kids were all babies, up until about maybe 6 or 7, maybe 5, 6, 7. That is like the primo time in their life. I loved it.
yeah.
And the only reason why 5, 6, 7 time frame it changed was because the fives were the whys. Everything was why, and it's like, okay, now you're getting annoying. You were
Right.
cute before, but now you're annoying.
Right.
And then by the time they were 7, they thought they knew it all because you told them all the whys.
Funny
And
girl. Hello, love. Yeah, I
Hey,
think
what's
too
up,
though
brother?
that when they get to that age, then all of a sudden they're introduced to the world of social life, i.e., school.
Hmm.
They're in school now. They've got friends of the same, who obviously have their own sort of influences because their parents are differently hanging things differently, how they raise their children and so forth. So there's, it all kind of changes, and all of a sudden, you don't know anything. Tommy knows more than you do, and he's only 9.
Right?
You know, he's
Exactly. How
cooler
could
than you
you
are.
know?
Yeah, right. But yeah,
Right?
that was. You're right. And in saying that, I used to think, and I still kind of believe it. G'day, Saturn. How are you, my friend? We're just talking about dads
Hey,
being fatherhoods, man. You're welcome to join in if you like.
what's
Um,
up, Saturn?
and yeah, we were just talking. So I had this. So I don't know what it is about this. The nines, laws of nine. Don't know. I don't know where I picked this up, but it makes sense to me.
The
And I'll
Law of
explain.
Nine. Huh.
And I'll explain what it
Yeah.
means. So for me, for a child's development as a father, and I can't say I'm not speaking for women, but in my life, from the ages from birth to 9 years old, we are solely responsible for them. They are so dependent on us for everything. Feeding them, make sure they get right foods, make sure we make all the decisions for them. We make their beds, we prep their lunches, we do all the things we're supposed to do for them as as a nurturing parent. At the age of 9 to 18, we then start releasing the reins and start teaching them to fend for themselves, teaching them how to make their own lunches, teaching them how to make their beds, teaching them how to do all the things they're going to need to become independent so that when they become 18 to 27 is now, okay, my hands are off, the training wheels have been taken off. Now let's
18
see
to
how you travel,
27.
right? And so
Uh-uh.
I'm still
18,
available.
get out.
No. I'm not saying don't get out. I'm just saying so from 18 onward to 27, that third stage of nines is basically us really letting go of the reins, taking off those training wheels. They've left the house and they're on their own. However, we are still there as a failsafe. We are still there. We're that net underneath the trapeze, you know. So that for whatever reason, if something happens, they make a wrong decision, they get kicked out of the place they're living in or whatever, we can still be there, And I've
Yeah.
always said that for my kids. So, but that was just me. That was my, for whatever the laws of nines worked in my, that was always there. So now I've got two of them that are out of that. They're now out, they're on their own. So once they've reached 28, they're pretty much, that's it. You're self sufficient. I can't imagine a 30-year-old wanting to
You'd
come back
like
to
to
live in
think.
my house. But but I've still got one left. I got a 24-year-old, so he's got a few years left to know that he can always have a room at my place if he needs it. I'm not saying that jokingly because obviously all my kids will always be
28th
welcome. But
birthday, that's it. You can't come back home.
yeah,
Get
no,
out.
you never come back. Get out. Don't come back until you have children. I want
You're an
grandkids.
adult now.
That's right. You're an adult. You're a real adult. I'm a real boy.
Right?
No. But I don't know. And again, I don't know why I picked it up. I have no idea where that came from. But it just made sense. And I use that sort of theory with my kids, and I watch them now, and all three of them have turned out to be an amazing young men. In spite of the relationships that I had, they have all become just brilliant in their own worlds, and they're facing their own trials and tribulations, as we did when we were their age. And I think we were saying that it's like I was saying that my father, it wasn't until I became a father that I understood his way of fathering. I didn't like the way he fathered sometimes with a fist or a belt or whatever it happens. I mean, I've had siblings who had broken arms, and heads put through walls and that sort of stuff because of the levels of frustration that occurred. What's up? What? Huh? Was that directed to me, Saturn, or was that?
I don't know. I think he was talking about playing 7 days earlier. He was talking about 13. He's doing fantastic, doing 13 hours of joke mod and then carrying on with uh, with something that you must have said in her chat or something like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, you were talking to one girl. Okay. It wasn't me. He was referring to one girl. Okay. Just making
Oh,
sure.
okay.
But yeah, no, and so but I remember presenting my father to my first son. Now this wasn't his first grandson. That was the first grandson that I could present to him. My oldest sister had a son. But that's a whole different that's a whole different story that we won't get into today. But I remember seeing in his eyes and the love that he felt for my son. I immediately understood. I felt this sort of relief that he felt at that stage his job was done. He can release the reins and say, "It's you. It's all on you now, kid. It's I've done my job. It's now on you." And in spite of the what he had to go by, my dad had nobody to learn from. I mean, he had a sibling. He had one sister. His father suffered from some severe mental health issues, um, and so he didn't have a father figure to teach him how to be a dad. And at the same time, he had a loving mother. Don't get me wrong. He was, as my mother used to say, he was his mama. He was a mama's boy. um, but he didn't have any sort of male role model to teach him, how to constrain yourself when you got so angry. And there's times, and I imagine you could probably feel the same. You get so angry, you'd literally want to Homer Simpson the shit out of them. You'd want to grab them by the throat
And just
and
throttle them a
just
little
drop
bit.
them to say, "Hey, do you not get this through your thick skull? What I'm trying to tell you." And there's times that I've felt that on occasion, but I've worked really hard learning from the mistakes my father made, um, to make sure that I never put myself in this. If I ever felt that frustrated, I walked away. And I can remember it did get to a point with my oldest. And this again, it had a lot to do with with the relationships that I was in, and that's hard too, being a dad and being in a relationship. Especially this day and
Mhm.
age where it's more common to have blended families, broken up families, or whatever. Obviously I've got three children, two different mothers, relationship strains that occur with that sort of things. My oldest, it was a stepchild to my second wife, and I wanted nothing more. And then the fact that his mother wanted nothing. It's not that she didn't want anything to do with him. She had her own issues in her life. So she was quite happy to relinquish control and allow me to raise him, and which I did my best to do on my own with no support from her. And meanwhile, I'm carrying on to my second marriage, and in hopes that maybe this second woman in my life will now help me. We're going to work on this together. So I've taken on her child and my child, and then we've got one together. So as a family, the air quotes going up
Aw,
there.
yours, mine, and ours.
Yeah, yes, what we had, and so and I thought we did pretty well. I thought we did pretty well, but then again, relationships changed again. So you know, as a father, I continued to do it even on my own. So we ended up splitting, and I was trying to raise a child, not one but three now, on my own. So and again, with no support, no support. I'm out here working my ass off, trying to work two jobs and everything else, trying to have my own sort of social life, and trying to keep my own mental health going so that I can stay focused to make sure that my kids were provided for. And I thought I did pretty good. I felt I did a pretty good job. I had a good job at the time, and I was working on my health as well, and then met another girl, and we moved in with her, and then that obviously frustrations because she had certain expectations of the kids, and the oldest graduated high school, but he was an absolute. I don't want to do anything. Yeah, exactly, Riven. And as you do, and he was such a problematic kid at that time. We just wanted him to participate. You're old enough, kid. We need you to help out around the house. You can't just be here and just be a vegetable on the couch all the time. So if you're gonna live here, you're out of high school now. It's time for you. I've got a great relationship. Well, I do have. I say that one girl. I'd say I have a great relationship with my kids. That they all love me. I know they all love me. They're so busy in their own lives. Like my youngest contacted me this morning, which is kind of why I got a little bit of a late start this morning. We were just having a chat, and we were talking about things in general. For those that don't know, my my best friend's my best furry friend of 16 years just passed on me on Sunday, and
Oh man, I didn't know
so
about that. Sorry,
it's
bud.
been a bit of a rough week trying to get past that. Of course, my youngest kind of grew up with him, so they had that was they've all been notified with that sort of thing, and so yeah, no, that's all right. Thank you. 16 years is a long time, and I've had him since he was 11 weeks old, and and I've had him for his entirety. And he got to grow up with my youngest, and they were best of mates. He was definitely my youngest was definitely his favorite. So he, it was great watching that relationship thrive. And he had that opportunity to grow up with him and be a part of it. But we were chatting today, and like my oldest is living his life, but he doesn't stay in contact very much because he's just busy and doing whatever he does. And I don't really know much. I know his partner's name is Jenny. That's all I know. I think I've met her once, and they've been together for a few years now. Um, same with the second child. He lives in Chicago, and he's married. He's the only one out of the three that's married. And if it wasn't for Instagram, I probably wouldn't know what's happening because they his wife is a beautiful, beautiful girl that works well. She works hard. I think she does a counseling session. She's a counselor by trade, so she does a lot of postings of stuff like that. And of course, they've got their own pets and stuff like that. So we watch, and I usually contact. The only way I can contact him is through her, because he just stays so busy, and he works in the camp counselors. He works as a director for summer camps in Michigan and some of that. So he's worked his way up to the ranks in that sense. He's been with them for I couldn't tell you how long, for a long time. He started out over in Vermont, working with Asperger's and that sort of stuff. Yeah, and that's right, and that's the thing. It's like, I'm thankful for that sort of stuff, though. Well, girl, I do take into consideration the fact that, if it wasn't for today's technology, it's the technology that I'm grateful for the fact that I can have that contact like we are now. Like we can, like I'm speaking to you guys from the other side of the world, as if you guys are sitting next to me, and
And there's
that's
no delay.
and there's a little bit,
Uh, in Discord, there's no delay, but
but
in
here,
Twitch, there is. Yeah.
yeah, and but yeah, it's like having that, but still having that content that they can reach out, they can contact one another, and it doesn't take away from the physically being able to grab them, but but I'm thankful for them, and they are so doing so well. And as a father, it does my heart good knowing that they're thriving and they're doing whatever they can, to survive. So I just like to I like to I would like. There's a part of me that always thought, if the poop hits the proverbial rotation device, then let us know. Don't hide it from me. You lost your dad over it a year ago. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. It's rough losing your parents. Um, both of my parents have now gone on. Last one was my mother a couple of years ago in the midst of COVID, and that was just a very unfortunate situation. Um, but we when it comes to my it's just my siblings and I now, so we're the next generation to go more or less. But being a father, it's my brother didn't have any children, so my other brother, who I've only just met, the one you've met, Skunk. I know that he's got a couple of kids, but we've never really met.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in your house. What? Exactly right, Saturn. Um, oh, he's still physically alive, but he chose his wife and other daughters over maintain relations. Yeah, and that's a rough thing to do. I mean, and in saying that too, my middle son, who's not my biological child, but I've raised him since he was 3, and I can't fathom, I can't understand how his father was so willing to just put him aside and not consider him in his life. He went on, did his own thing, had other children with another woman and everything else. But he didn't want to know his own son. He didn't want to know his own son because his hatred towards his mother was so strong. Which is really sad because that kid is an amazing kid. He has done so well in his life. And not that I would put them in any particular order, but he has probably been one of the more successful out of the three kids. He's just one of those naturally gifted. If luck, he has the most amazing luck with things. He's naturally athletic. So any sport you throw him in, he takes to it like a fish to water. He's well spoken. He doesn't communicate worth a shit, but he's very well spoken, and which is funny saying that. He would make a great politician, and I say that in the most respectful way, because he has the ability to talk to, and do the data gathering and do what it takes to say, all right, this is the subject, let's talk about it. He's really good with that. You're her hero. Yeah, you know what? I'd always hoped, my dream to be when I would become a dad was to have two children. And women do that too. The women have these when they're children, when they're young, they have this vision of the perfect wedding. They've already got it all planned out before they've even met the man. Men too. Actually, some of us we actually have not necessarily the vision of the wedding, but we have
Sort of planned out.
families. We have in our
Yeah.
heads as of families, like sizes of families. Like I wanted two children. I wanted a boy and a girl, in that order. And I wanted my daughter to have a brother, an older brother that would look after her. That was to me that was an ideal family. Unfortunately, I don't say unfortunately. The universe felt otherwise, so he gave me three boys instead. You don't get two. We're going to give you a bonus boy. You got three boys. Okay, I got three boys. So, and as a father, I'm very, very proud of them, and I'm so happy. Like I said, they've done so well. But as a pressure for the father, we talked about that today with my youngest. He's like he tries to talk to me, and I said, look, I mean, I like the fact that he and I can talk as mates now, as friends. I don't know if you feel the same about your kids, but I feel, me being a father is not a sort of level of necessity. It's like I'm here to be your dad.
Yeah,
I
I feel
like the fact.
more like my kids are great in the fact that I get to play with them online and stuff like that. But the the role that I'm kind of in, because that's the way the kids wanted me to be, is more of like uh, a guru.
A
You know,
guru.
they
A
yeah
guru skunk.
they wanna know some advice. They wanna yeah, imagine me like that.
Right?
Uh-huh,
Sitting on the
uh-huh,
hill, legs crossed, got the fingers in
right?
the
So apparently my
incense
days of screwing
smoking.
up my kids is not over yet. So
Oh, good. You got more opportunities to screw them up. Yay!
right. They let me take that reign and roll with it.
You
So
want my advice? Okay.
all right, here we go.
My
Yep,
advice is
exactly,
don't take my advice. Um,
exactly.
no, my and that's funny you say it, 'cause that was all I ever wanted for my kids. Hey, I don't want to dictate your life, but when like I said, when it hits the fan, know
Yeah,
that you can call
and
me.
there's a lot of times where I know they're fishing for me to tell them what to do, and I'm like, no, 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 no. This is your life. This is what you got. I'm here for you, and I'll help you, guide you, however I can, but and tell you my experiences. But this is your life, so yeah. There's been plenty of times, especially with my daughter when she's raising her kids, while she's raising her kids.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times where she's been like, "Yeah, I sound just like my dad."
Yeah. That's not a bad thing.
She'll be telling her kids stuff, and she's like, and I'll listen, hear it, and she'll be like, "Shut up, Dad. I know what you're thinking." And I'm like, I didn't say anything, you know.
Right.
So,
That's
uh-huh.
awesome. It's funny because I'm
Yeah,
like that with my like my youngest. He and I are the closest out of our children, out of my all three of my boys, and and I was saying to him before, like I like the fact that he and I I said, man, I told him this morning. I said, I like the fact you and I can talk like two adults, that we can say things to one another without taking offense. You know, that we understand without,
Hmm.
we're still respectful to one another. And if we disagree, it's okay. We're okay with that. You know,
Yeah.
we listen to each other's point of views, and we don't play on that. Like, oh, okay, I respect your. I may not agree with it, but I respect your point of
What is
view.
that? We listen, we don't judge.
Exactly. And yeah. So and I guess that there's a part of me that yearns for that with the other two. And I like, my oldest, my youngest, the middle one. I can remember there's a couple of times where we've gotten into some severe debates, and he gets pretty
Mhm.
passionate about his debates, and I'm like, but he doesn't understand there's a level of, hey, conversation ends. I'm no
Political
longer.
debates.
It's not necessarily political debate. Like, I can. There's a time we were doing this trek here. It's called the Biblum track. It's like 100 some. I don't even know how long it is. It's this huge long, sort of a hiking trail that goes quite a long way. I'll have to look at the details on it. But anyways, we had and we were going through this process, and I remember there's a couple of times where he was kind of poking and prodding in areas that were being kind of a little sensitive to me at the time, and I just said, I don't do that. And so he didn't quite understand there was limitations, because I didn't have a brother that I grew up close enough to that I felt comfortable with physical touch, like two brothers wrestling and punching each other. I didn't have that,
Yeah.
so it's very foreign to me. Whereas my boys have had that. Like, they used to MMA the shit out of each other out in the backyard. I remember my oldest, my two oldest too, when they first came together, we used to get those inflatable suck and boppers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The
Big
big gloves.
marshmallows, the big marshmallows you stick your
Yeah.
fist into. Yeah. So my kids, they've always had that sort of physical interaction with each other, and so. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, but I was trying to get ways to make that happen. I happened to find that this morning. Thanks to that, Saturn. Um, but 'cause, yeah, so they're always used to it, where I've not had that. So sometimes when they've come to me and try to tackle me, I was like, okay, yeah, look, it's an uncomfortable situation for me, because it's very foreign to me. So it's different for me than it is for them. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to go into a pub and get into a punch up and walk away. Like, I'm okay. That's not. I don't know, because I've never had that. I've always been very much. I'm never in a situation where I've had to be in a fight. I could say probably 3 times in my life I've actually been in a physical altercation. Um,
Yeah, maybe a little bit more than that.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like you would have a different sort of background, from the discussions I've had with you. So, what's that old saying? Was it Toby Keith that has that song about I'm not the way I used to be, or whatever? Hey,
I'm
hey, come step in, man. I've started a fight. I need your help. I'd have a
Yeah,
hard time with
there's been
that.
days where I've been in 3 fights in a day, it's like,
Right?
so,
I walk away with a bit
yeah.
of a bloody nose. You're like, oh, it's just another day. But
Yeah,
he would push buttons to that point where I'd be like, that's not on with me. It didn't have to be a physical altercation, but he had that sort of level of, I'm okay to push these buttons, and I'm thinking, I'm not your mate in that sense. Where, you're still young enough that I'm your father, and you need to respect the fact that I'm still your father. That level of mateship hasn't quite achieved there yet. So he pushed these buttons, and we ended up getting into this debate about, hey, what's right, what's wrong, and what's allowed in a conversation. And I'd be like, all right, you need to stop, because I'm done. I'm done with this conversation. And he wouldn't stop. He would continue to push, 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 push. And I'm like, yeah, no, yeah, this you don't get it. I'm not saying that this conversation can't be restarted somewhere down the road, but right now it's done. I'm not in a
yeah,
mental spot for us to continue this conversation, and you need to respect that. But no, no buts. Just but I want my I want to speak my point of view. Okay, you can speak your point of view, but you might as well talk to that tree, because that's the only thing that's going to be listening. And I'm not saying you can't talk to me later about it. I'm just saying right now it needs to stop. So he'd have those
yeah,
moments, and so, but he's an amazing kid, and I talk to him now. It's like, like I said, they're at a age now where they're my kids, mind you, genetically and or you know situationally, they're still my children, and I would love them no matter what. There's nothing in this world that these kids could ever do to me that I can think of that would ever have me just say I'm done with you. But I miss them. I
Yeah,
miss them like crazy. I miss them like
been
crazy.
there, done that. Been disowned, been all kinds of stuff. So yeah,
But
definitely would not do something like that with my own kids. So
I never could never understand how his father wanted nothing to do with him. This kid's a fourth degree black belt in Taekwondo. He's got a national championship belt from Taekwondo. He's got he was the football captain, not of one but of two different teams. He plays tennis. He's currently his golf is his passion now, if you want to call that a sport. Um, you know, he's just and like I said, he's got this sort of ability to talk, and he carries himself in such a way that's just it's impressive. It's so impressive. Um, but yeah, I don't know. My kids, again as a father, I yearn for them. I yearn for my kids, and so in the stance that I'm now contemplating where do I go next. We were talking about this the other day, I think. Um, we've discussed this about me returning to the States. I don't know. We brought that up with my youngest today. We were talking about it. He says, "Well, don't follow us around." I said, "You don't understand. You don't understand. I came to Australia with the intent of staying in Australia as long as you guys stayed in Australia. I brought you here to raise you here because I thought this was a better environment for you guys at the time. And and looking back, I think that I did the right decision for them. And so, and I look at their success and can attest to the fact that I did a pretty good job. At least I think I did. Giving credit to the mother support and what they've done as well. I look at their flaws when it comes to that. That's wrong. Yep, it's your mother's fault. I had nothing to do with that. Mental health issues. No, that's your mother. That's not me. Yeah, my it's like I don't know what you're on about. But no, I'm as a dad, I'm so happy that I've raised three great kids, and but as also the pressure. It's like when they all kind of grew and left the house, you kind of felt that missing. It's like, oh, they're gone, and then you're like to yourself, you look at the so quiet. What the hell I do now? It's like my youngest. I remember taking them fishing. They would drive me insane, constantly insane about, Dad. I can't get the bait on the hook. Dad, can you get the fish off? Dad, can I'd be like, can you leave in the water long enough for me to go bait my own hook? Can I at least get my line in the water? You spent so much time getting them out and getting them so they were fishing and enjoying it, and you just couldn't really stop and enjoy it yourself. And the frustration. And I remember I had a mate of mine we used to go fish with. He had a beautiful golden retriever as well. That she was the most placid animal you'd meet, but the minute you pull a fish onto the beach, that dog went nuts. Absolutely, she would chase that fish. She would chase you, bringing that fish along the beach. She was an absolute, completely different animal, and it was just, and the kids freaked out. They would all freak out. Ah! I'd be like, and you would get frustrated. It was like just so yeah, the madness was there. And so you plan a trip on your own, like, oh, God damn it, I'm gonna go and do my own. I'm going fishing. You kids stay at home. And then I'd sit there, and the silence was deafening. I'd be like,
that's awesome.
I don't enjoy the fishing anymore because my kids aren't here. Like what the? Like come on,
So I heard a pretty funny joke about fishing.
All right, right. Go ahead.
Was
Is it
this,
FIS or PH?
no, FISH. This this guy he's talking with a friend of his who says her husband goes fishing and stuff every weekend, and he's like, oh yeah, trying to figure out where it's a coworker or friend or whatever, trying to figure out where he's going fishing, and she goes, I don't know, but he's got this app that helps him find friends to go fishing with, called Plenty of Fish. He finds one every Friday to go fishing with.
Right,
he's,
right. Plenty of
he's
fish
like,
here.
yeah, yeah. Plenty of fish there.
Good
Not the
Lord.
same kind of fish.
Right, right. And
So,
I don't know. That's the
yes, sir.
well, here you go. I think you can relate with me a little bit.
Yeah, I can.
Being as we've both experienced, broken relationships and still trying to parent while trying to maintain other relationships or establish other relationships. As a father, how did you find that? Did you find that where were your priorities and all that? Did you find that the child's happiness was more important than the potential partner, or how would you?
Yeah, whoever I dated had definitely had to understand that there was that part of life, and so um, yeah, it was just one of those things where it was like, you know, some women really dug it. Some women were like, this is great. We've always wanted a guy who's responsible enough to care for kids and all that kind of stuff. And other times it was just like, yeah, they don't want me, they want my kids. So,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I my it was important to me at the time. Obviously my I never planned for any of that. Any of the broken relationships. That was never the plan in my life when I first got married. Um, to me, it was going to be a one and done. I was never going to get married again. We were going to work
Yep.
through. I was under the impression that we would work through whatever the issues were going to be. My grandparents stayed married for the entirities of their lives. And mom had basically kind of informed me of the difficulties that they had in their relationship, but they stayed together in spite of it all. And I'm thinking, okay, that to me is admirable, and I wanted that. I wanted it to be, you know, I wanted to be able to have a relationship that lasted that long as well. So not just for the kids' sake, but just for me, that was the way I thought things were supposed to be.
Right.
But obviously the reality of it is, things happen and people, it becomes very one-sided and you can't do anything about it. One person decides to leave a relationship, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to accept it. And so, when it came to the second one, it took a little bit for me to work through the first one. So when the second one came through, I thought I was ready. I thought, okay, I learned from my mistakes. Let's move forward. And so I went in thinking, okay, great. I found this person. We get on quite well. We had a lot of things in common. She's got a kid. I've got a kid, 7 months apart. Um, they get on like a house on fire. We all kind of, yep, great, fantastic. So I thought for sure, this was going to be a person that was going to accept my child because she has her own child. We all work together. A little did I realize that obviously that was a different sort of vision on her part, but you know, thankfully when it came to the fact that we still worked together to make it happen, we did. But then again, that relationship, but as long as I had somebody in my life that understood, if there was a partner that, hey, these kids are my life, you can't accept it, then we don't need to continue. Plain and simple. And I've had that a
Hmm.
couple of times where I had a couple. They could, oh, you got to choose me over them. I said, then yeah, here's the door. Sorry.
That's a pretty easy choice.
That's a very easy choice on my part when it comes to my kids. And so, yeah. At the same time, I'm not looking for a partner who solely wants children. You know what I'm saying? Like the last partner I had, we were together for 9 years. She never had children, um, but she loved my children as if she'd had them. She never had the desire to have a child, only because she had her own sort of demons that she dealt with. But at the same time, she loved my children all the same. And I like the fact
Yeah.
that I like the relationship she had with my kids because she didn't have to be the mom. She was never meant to take over that role, but she was able to be a confidant, a friend, a good sounding board for them, and I respected her for that. And she did an amazing. She as a role, she's an amazing woman in that sense. And I hate that our relationship ended. Um, it just Yeah, that's for different reasons. But she was a great influence to my kids. Yeah, so I'm very thankful for her in that part. We still stay in touch from time to time, but um, yeah, it was very important to me to have that sort of relationship. If you can't handle my kids, don't bother. If you
Right?
can't handle the fact that my kids are a priority, don't bother. You know, and she respected that. I think she supported it more so than she did, than anything. So yeah, but it was important to me that I have whoever was in my life. They understood that being a father, your daughter's your world.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
She's my
yeah,
little princess.
princess. That's
Yep.
right. And the
She's
kids
my
will always be my kids, no matter what. Kids come first. They do. They absolutely do. And
there's a
I'm
point in their
excited that
life where they're like don't want to be the princess anymore. They're above that, but then they always circle back to it.
yeah,
So
33. There you go. 30, 31. Yeah, yeah. They're all about the same. They're all the same age, same generation, same sort of impact and influences in life. Because, like I was saying before, like our generation, our generations are different in the sense that, the responsibilities that we have change. This kid's day and age, I don't know. I don't understand the pressures they're feeling because, we didn't have the same pressures they have and vice versa. Um,
right.
So, being able to having access to more, more amenities, or now that we've got, when we were their age, um, we didn't have internet. We didn't have that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I say that now, of course we didn't. We had internet when we were 30, but what had AOL? You've got mail. MySpace? that was the thing 30 years ago. That was what we did. Nowadays, it's not the same.
Hmm.
It's so much more accessibility to everything around us. And the thing is, now the AI is jumping in. You got to be mindful of the fact now you got to filter all the BS. So it's things like that. We got to be mindful of the fact that we can't. It's a whole new world of how would you say it, man? I, d- I don't envy them what they've got to go through this day and age. I don't envy what these kids have to deal with because they've got so much more in front of them, but only because they have so much more shit they've got to work through. We were naive, wouldn't you say? We were naive to the crap around us. You had no idea what was happening over in Florida than you did in your own state. You know what I'm saying? You had no idea, nor did you care. Let alone what was happening over in Russia or any other part of the world. I had no idea that Australia even existed until I saw Greece and met Olivia Newton-John. Oh my God, what an angel! She sold me on the idea of Australia.
I
But
did a title job for a lady that looked identical to Olivia Newton-John.
yeah, I worked for a lady
Yeah,
that sounded like her when she sang. Absolutely, she was an angel. Um, the young and clueless. I know, right? And you can't, and it's becoming so increasingly difficult. It's like the more and more stuff you see, the AI is just level of reality is completely changed. Oh my God. It's like, how do you, that just can't be right. There's no way. I don't know if you guys see these spams with all these stupid Yetis and whatever crap they've got running around. Um, they, you seen them? You know what I'm talking about? The Bigfoot Yeti memes. Have you seen those, Scott?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I have.
They're funny. Well, they were
They
originally.
are.
They're not as funny as they used to be. I think
No.
they're getting a little long in the tooth now because now, to me,
Yep.
most of the ones I see, it's all about being drug raged and drunk and all those other stupid behaviors that real life people couldn't
Yeah,
do if
yeah,
they
it gets
wanted
old.
to. It's like, come on, man. It's what extremes are we going to here? I think you were kind of promoting the wrong sort of mindsets. It's okay. Let's all get drunk and stupid.
They've
Really?
run out of material. It's like the way of extreme shows like Jackass and you know South Park and all that kind of stuff. They're funny for a season until they run out of material, and then they're just struggling to come up with new material, and it's just
right?
not as funny.
Yeah, it's only funny
So
getting watching some guy getting punched in the nuts so many times. Like, yeah.
exactly.
Hi there,
It's like,
beautiful woman. How are you, Mama Bear? Oh,
hey, there she is. What's up? What's up, nerd?
how are you? You about to call her mama, weren't you?
I was. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you mama.
Hi, gorgeous. How are you? We're just talking about being fathers, and look, I'm open for questions. If anybody's got any questions they want to ask, and I'm happy to be honest with you guys. I don't know. I'm overwhelmed with my kids in the sense that I'm so proud of them. Um, and in spite of what their mothers have done to them and how they've screwed them up. Yeah, I've done my share of screwing them up as well. At least I think I have. I've tried to minimize any sort of damage on them. I really have. I would like to think that that one day they'll see that when my vision changed, when I saw my father in a whole new light. I'm hoping that'll happen to them one day, because then that's gonna change our relationship even to the next tier again. So I'm excited to that stage. The question is, what do I do next, Skunk? What do I do next? We're gonna move into the house in Missouri, or what? What are we doing, man?
You know,
Yeah, are we gonna be
don't
roonies?
tempt me.
Right, right, right. Oh, it's I don't know. You get me someplace in Pennsylvania, I think I'll be happy. I'll be
Yeah.
right in the middle of my kids, right between one's in Rhode Island, the other one's in Chicago. So that'll put me smack in the middle. Then I can go pinch
Wait,
Mama Bear.
one's in where and the other's in Chicago?
One's in Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh, Rhode Island. I thought you said Raleigh. And I was
Yeah,
like,
where the hell's Raleigh? I have
yeah,
no
like
idea. No,
Raleigh, North Carolina, and you pronounce it Raleigh. And I was like,
Raleigh. Yeah, nah,
um, okay. So
nah, nah,
yeah, I'm
nah,
like, all
nah,
right,
nah, nah,
come
nah.
on, your accent's a little too thick there.
No, no. I
So
Yeah. So there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, where do I want to be next? So I thought about, well, if I could be close to them, I don't want to be in there. I don't want to live in their house. I'm not. I don't want. I just want to be close enough to that. If I want to, pull up on the weekend and say, hey, let's go catch up at the local park, or let's go out for dinner, or that they're close enough to have a night or two with, if I wish to. Um, that's all I care about. I just want to be close enough that I can pinch their squeeze their necks, as my mom used to always say. Um,
yeah,
and just have a bit of us time. I mean, we used to. I mean, my kids and I, we used to have like, so when I split with my second wife, I'd have them 3 days of the week. So I'd have them every weekend. And then obviously we'd get certain holidays, whatever. So I enjoyed the time with them, and we used to have like at the time I was working two jobs and that sort of stuff. So I was able to balance it all quite well. But we had a great routine. We used to watch, what do we watch? Smallville. We ever watched Smallville series? We used to watch every Saturday. That was our thing. We'd all come home. We'd enjoy the weekend. We'd throw on Smallville. I'd cook dinner. It was great. We had such a great routine, and we really enjoyed it. And the kids still talk about it today. Oh no, Mama, is everything okay? You catch me up in a message if you like, or have you not having a chance to look? I need more screens. I don't have enough screens.
it's what you get for not having multiple screens.
I know, right? I've got two. I would like to have for the third one, but no, I don't know, man. Not for you this time. Okay. All right. All right.
Well,
Well,
I got Santa season coming up, but after Santa season, we can definitely talk about
so it's Hannah
Pennsylvania or
season. What's that
Missouri
like?
or
It's
something.
because somebody told me the other day, they looked at me at their work, and they're like, you got the real Santa Claus look on there with the mustache and all. I'm like, what? Are you serious? So I know a guy that plays Santa. I don't know. Maybe we could do a dueling banjos, dueling Santas sort of thing.
Doing Santas.
A dueling Santas
Yeah,
role.
talking with my next door neighbor on that one. He's been a Santa for 33 years, so
Wow. Does he maintain it year
he's
round, or does he have to do like you and
no, he's in his 70s, I think.
wow,
So
okay.
he's got a few years on me.
Right.
Um
33 years.
but yeah, he
But obviously
for
he hasn't
33 years.
been yeah, obviously he hasn't been white for 33 years.
No, he hasn't been white haired. In fact, his hair is not completely white as it sits right now. Like he still has a little bit of bleaching that he does, and I'm like, okay, well, that's cool, but you know, so but
Welcome in, Solo. How are you, big guy? Um,
he's got storybooks and stuff like that um, that he says he has. So I'm like, that's cool.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I remember my father come over to visit. He's the only family member who's actually made it over here. And my father he didn't have the kind of beard that you have.
yeah,
His was much shorter, but I remember I used to when I worked for a local uh I say local, it's actually a nationwide company. I was an activities coordinator, and every year we'd have this big Christmas display that we'd put up at the front of the store. And on that was Santa's chair, which I hand built, by the way. Um,
nice.
and so it was painted gold, and we had all the trimmings and the trees and the lights and blah blah blah. Christmas in Australia, guys, hey, it's not the same it is there. It's freaking hot, but they still want to see Santa and all his regalia. The whole felt looking kit and gear. Like old Skunky does. It's
Yeah,
it's 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 uh it's
it's
hot when it's
it is.
34 plus over here. It's
Hey,
hot.
it's hot over here too. So it's
But
it's no walk in the park
but no,
over
when you're
here.
feeling all when you covered up and you got the jacket on, you got the gear on, and suspenders and the
Hmm.
shirts and the pants and the shoes, and it's just yeah. So do that in 34-degree heat. That's I'm just saying. So, but my father did that, but the one time he visited, it was just happened to be Christmas time, and he sat in the throne. He played the role of Santa. The least convincing Santa you'd ever meet, but I mean, a black man would have passed. I'm just saying. uh, but I appreciate his efforts. He was quite happy to sit there and listen to the kids whinge and ask for crap they'll never get, and whatever, and hand out little candy canes and stuff like that. So, but my
Old Saturn's bragging about his age, 70
right
years old.
70. We don't talk about age, Saturn. As long as you're over 13, that's all that matters.
Right?
All right. Oh, speaking of, have you guys got that over there? We've got this new thing coming up on 10th of December. They have got the social media ban.
Social media band.
So you have to be 16 or older to be and they've got like all the social medias like Twitch, not Twitch. Was it X, Instagram, 25 in your mind? Yes. I'm the same until I actually hurt something, then I feel like I'm bloody old. So like 25 years old, I would have been okay by tomorrow. No, 3 weeks later. Oh, that's finally stopped
Huh.
hurting. Oh, wait a minute. Now something else hurts. um,
Yeah.
yeah, so this huge thing over here. So everybody's freaking out. They're all like, oh my God, how we can't we our children are not going to be able to stay in contact with one another. So like, all that sort of WhatsApps and all that sort of crap. It's all so as of the 10th of December, it's a nationwide media ban, social media ban. So you have to be 60 years older. So, and I'm thinking to myself,
Nationwide, as in Australian nation?
well, what other nation would it be? I'm talking about America. I don't live in
Well,
America. I live in
okay.
Australia. I'm just saying here in
Well, I
Australia,
remember.
the
I
nation.
know. I remember you were asking if we got it too, and I was
I
like,
didn't know if you guys had that sort of effect over there because I know that America's pretty good as far as censorship stuff. When it comes to censorship, some of the things you guys censor are quite stupid. But anyways, you know, there's certain. I remember when I came in Australia, it's like the whole level of censorship kind of changed, and it's like they just showed boobs. Really? Did they show boobs? Yeah, yeah. No, it's okay over here. Boobs are natural. You wouldn't do that in the States. You wouldn't see boobs or anything. That even the word boobs would be bleeped somewhere along the way. Just imagine. So,
well,
um,
they still say stuff, but like that. But
but
yeah, I know
yeah.
what you're
So,
talking about.
but over here it's a little more relaxed, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's So this is Saturn. This is Skunk Puncher. He's the one that runs the 7 Days server. He's currently living in Vegas. And you originally Idaho?
Yep.
Idaho originally.
All the way up north, next to Canada.
He's a potato farmer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about potato farmer. We were loggers up there.
We're loggers. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we were
Idaho
loggers.
is known for potatoes, isn't it?
It's got famous potatoes, but it does have quite a few industries where we grew up or where I grew up. It was hunting, fishing, and logging. A lot of tourists would come up and do hunting trips or fishing trips, catch some sturgeon on the river,
Ooh,
and we had these massive sturgeon.
right.
Sometimes they would be 6, 7 foot long sturgeons. So it's like, yeah,
That'd be a hell of a fight, I imagine.
yeah, they definitely could put up a fight for sure.
So
Drag you out of your boat.
what sort of forestry sort of trees?
A lot of pine, a lot of uh, um, cedar.
Ooh,
Yeah, cedar and
cedar's
pine
good,
were the two big. Hmm.
right? Right.
A lot of spruce up there as well, but we mainly logged the cedar and pine.
Okay. That's a big
So
industry here. We do the blue gum. It's a common tree over here that's used in quite a fast growing plantation. So they can regrow and harvest within a couple of seasons. Everything's kind of getting
yeah,
cycles through. I don't know if it's the same. I know pine's a fast growing tree, um, but I don't know
yeah,
what.
and a lot of people get upset about logging, but as as I was growing up, we started learning about the industry and how it works. And I can tell you right now, logging is very much needed. There are three different kinds of logging that people do. The one that everybody gets mad about is clear cutting, but the way that they clear cut today, it's actually needed because the woods can get so thick that they won't allow light to reach the floor.
Right,
So if you're going through the woods, you're going to find just nothing on the floor except for pine needles and dead twigs and all that kind of stuff. So what they'll do is they'll clear cut like an acre or 2 acres, and just have a nice clear cut patch, and all of a sudden all of the undergrowth grows. The earth comes alive in that clear cut space. Now, what does that do? You're trading trees for shrubs and grass and all that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, the wildlife doesn't eat the trees; they eat the grass and the shrubs and the bushes
yep,
and stuff like that.
yep,
So
yep,
you're promoting the food for the wildlife. So that's one type of logging. They also do selective cutting.
yep,
Selective cutting is we go in and we trim out all of the dead or old trees so
yep.
that the younger trees can grow. And when they grow, of course, the forest is still there. So um, it winds up being a good thing. And then
What?
the last one that we did was reforestation, which is where we would actually come in and replant after we've cut out the trees,
Yeah.
so that way instead of allowing it to have a regular clear cut, we would put the saplings in and let them grow up. So
Yeah,
yeah, all three of them very important. But I'll never forget watching some people try and shut down the entire industry because of practices that were 100 years old that
yeah,
nobody does anymore.
right. It's funny,
And they didn't even
ignorance.
live.
Yeah,
Yeah, they didn't even live in the state. They lived like, a couple thousand miles away. And they're like, oh, we need to shut it down. And I'm
yeah,
like, what? You
yeah,
don't understand. The
yeah.
animals love it.
Exactly. No, they don't
So,
quite understand it at all. That's the funny part. Ignorance is the biggest culprit in a lot of that. People aren't willing to educate themselves, or they
mhm,
get lined up with the wrong sort of you know fanatical beliefs of like, well, this is what we got. No, you don't. Learn before you start acting upon that, guys. Man, use a little
right.
common sense. Was your father into farming? Is that what was your father? What sort of work did he do?
So my father was a welder. He
Okay.
was a millwright for 30 years. And he fixed a lot of equipment. So he would basically be the one fixing all the logging equipment, um,
Okay.
as it would break down and stuff. So
And
yeah,
did you follow in his suit, or were you close to your father?
I did not. I felt like I was, but the closeness came more of being more like my grandfather than my dad.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I was definitely more like my grandpa.
Right. Okay. So obviously, your grandfather wasn't working at the time. He was able to be more of an influence in your life
Oh
because
no, my
he.
grandfather passed away, but I inherited his way of thinking, is what everybody told me.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
well, there you
yeah.
go. I guess that's a good thing, maybe.
Oh, so I'm hoping.
And what about
So
siblings? How many siblings are you? One of
I'm number 6 of 8.
six of eight. Wow.
So number
Busy,
6 of 8 kids.
busy mom.
Yeah, there wasn't any TV back then.
Right? Let's see. They had nothing else to do. They got to stay warm in the winter, right?
Exactly.
Dad came
So
home too regularly. Stop it, Dad. Go, stay away.
mhm, mhm.
Get away. All right. Well, so number 6 of 8. Wow. Okay. So I'm number 5. Oh, sorry, I said that. No, I'm number 6. I'm number 6 of 6.
Number 6 of 6.
So my mother had 4. My father had 2. We need to buy our TV, right? That's what
I'm
you
an
do,
only adopted child, says Saturn.
right?
So
My dog, my dog, my sister. She married her husband. Her first husband she married, Puerto Rican man. He was one of 22.
one of
20,
22.
22 children.
That's quite a few.
That was, yeah, exactly. At this stage, they were kind of just dropping out with a briefcase in hand, ready to. You were one of 16. Yeah, that's right. Mama was a busy. Um, I'm pretty sure one girl that Mama's number is pretty close to the original. His mother's was, I think she had 16 to 18. I think of those 22. So you've got 3. Okay. That you
Mama's one of 16.
Mama's one of 16. Saturn's got 3 siblings, which he's met. Um, I've got a brother that I've only met him on the phone. I've never physically met him. In fact, Skunk's the only person that's actually met him for me.
I did.
He doesn't live too far away from him, so but through proxy, I've met him through Skunk. I think you guys got on okay. I think,
Yeah, he's a pretty good guy.
yeah,
Invited me out to go fishing with him and stuff. So I
yeah.
was like, all right.
He's a very. I think where you guys may differ would be your religious beliefs. He's. I think that might be the wedge between you guys. He's
Oh
currently
yeah.
currently very strong in his faith at the moment. Um, to a point where it could be like, okay, I gotta go.
A little annoying.
Yeah, yeah, I've got my faith. I don't need to sit down and debate it, mate. That's all I'm saying. It's like
Hmm.
to each their own. But we're getting to the ads there. And with that being said, I'm looking at the clock now. It's gone 11 o'clock, and I generally wanted to kind of keep these Wednesday sessions as I say Wednesday. It's Tuesday night for you guys, for most of you guys.
Oh, Wednesday, it's fine. Wednesday morning,
Relatively
we'll adapt to you.
relatively short. This wasn't meant for us to be here long. We just wanted to have a chat. MoChat is plain in your face. That was kind of the idea behind it all. It's about me kind of sitting down, talking about stuff. MOvember, we were talking about men stuff. 6 levels of separation is always possible here, my friend. Yeah, exactly. We all know Kevin Bacon somehow or another. Somehow or another. But it's
Hmm.
nice to have a chat, you know, and I wanted to be here to talk about whatever. So what we're going to talk about next week, I have no idea yet, but it'll come to me sometime. But I would like to leave it open too. I don't know if this will continue on after November, but I can tell you guys right now, I am currently how many? Let me see, how many have I done so far? 16, 18, 20. I'm 20 and a half Ks in my 60 Ks in 30 days. Uh, which I'm happy to be getting it done. I did say that in my little notes today, it's my legs felt very heavy today. Very heavy today. So I don't know if it's just physical tiredness or probably more mental than anything, but we'll get there. You guys are amazing, and I do look forward to sitting down and chatting to you guys. I used to do what was called Why Not Wednesdays, where we did something different, just to kind of keep things mixed up. And I want to kind of get back to doing 5 days a week. And it was mainly because I need to kind of find a way to increase the revenue on this. So um, I think I can work it out. It seems to be the last couple of days I've been kind of very quiet, but it was nice to have you guys to hang out with. Even with the time difference, I think that it works things a little bit differently. But we'll be open for next week again for MoChat, and of course Skunk, Saturn, any of your fathers, any of the men out there. You guys are always welcome to hang out there, and let's keep the conversation going. If you ever felt you're feeling a little lost, if you ever felt like you're alone in this world, know that you're not. We're all here. We don't judge. We have a little bit of anonymity behind us. Some of us do know each other, so we do ask each other to make sure we kind of maintain the anonymity. What happens in our personal lives doesn't need to be aired out. Dirty laundry. That's I'm not for that sort of thing. So, but again, full disclosure, I'm not a counselor. I'm not qualified. I just got a lot. I got my bit of life experience, and I try to draw on that, and hopefully that if you've gotten anything out of that today, then fantastic. If you haven't, that's fine too. But if nothing else, I'm hoping that we can keep more people involved, more men chatting and talking, and sharing their discomforts in life, and hopefully that we can work through that sort of thing. And so we'll work on next week's topic. We'll come up with something and see what we can kind of nut it out. But until then, guys, I want to thank you. I want to thank Skunk for hanging and joining me today, man, talking about fatherhood.
Yeah.
You learned a little bit more about me. You don't know some of you guys have no idea what I look like. Some of you do, and that's fine. I'm not afraid to show my face. It's just that this character that you've seen has been so well established. I don't want to take him away. He's too much of me, so he's a permanency. But other than that, if you do know me through Discord, you'll know what I look like. You'll know more about me. But you guys are amazing, and again, thank you so much, Skunk, for hanging out. Saturn, thank you for chatting. Solo, who else? Any other fellows we had in here today? And of course, the ladies. I want to thank you guys for being here too, because if you guys weren't around, we wouldn't exist. You can't birth men can't birth kid population. But kind of you seen that handsome mug? Yeah, there you go. There's some old photos if you looked at that one. But anyways, I want to thanks again, guys. You guys have an amazing day and whatnot. Let's go. Who do we want to go and hang out with today? You know what? I know who I want to go say hello to. He goes by the name of Ticonderoga.
Ooh, he's still on.
He's still on. If you guys don't know Ty,
I've been lurking in his channel, so
he is one bloke to another. He's a lot of fun. He's a lot of fun. He's got the dad jokes of dad jokes. Oh my God, what is he about to get into? He's currently playing Stone Block 4. So for those that are playing, thanks, Mama Bear, for doing that. If you guys want to join me for the raid, but again, he's a gentleman amongst thieves. He is a by far an awesome individual, and a great representation of the masculine sort. So I have no problems of
He owns
bringing.
a pizza restaurant.
He's gotten out of the business.
Oh, he's gotten out of the business.
Yeah.
No wonder he's on more often.
Yeah. So he's I think he said he's retired. He's retired himself from it all. So, but we can tell more about that. But thank you guys. Thanks again for everything, guys. Thank you for hanging out and being a part of this day, and thank you for being the light to this bit of a it's been a bit of a sad day, or sad week. It has been. It's been a very challenging couple of weeks for me, but you guys have been amazing and awesome, and I really appreciate you guys being here. You guys are awesome and wonderful. Please remember, self-care is not selfish. It's important and vital that you guys put yourselves as a priority, because if you can't look after yourselves, you can't be available for anybody else. Until then, guys, I love your faces. It's bye for now, but not forever. See ya.
Bye. I have some news for you.
Hold on. We're still going. We're still live.